totally agree.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we can get started. Welcome to the Hoover Library Sci-Fi Fest. This is Star Wars Canon Connections, and Marie has a novel about the Canon Connections that we're going to get to talk about. But I am Michael Nipp from the Deuce Cast. We've got Stan. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Michael. I'm Stan Daniel from Kingdom Casts with Stan Daniel and Albert Marsh podcast. Next. And I've just been vomited on by my dog. Thanks to Michael Nipp commenting on my aesthetics. My wife changed everything around.
That's right. It looks better now.
It confused and upset Rigby. And now he's sick. Thank you, Michael.
You're glowing. You're absolutely glowing, Stan.
You looked like a ghostly image before.
And I am Marie Wilson, and I have a Star Wars review blog at Beyond. Oh God, I was about to plug something different. I am at the StarWarsReview.blogspot.com, where I review all the literature that comes out under the Star Wars umbrella. And I am on the Tumbling Saber podcast once a month, where we also talk about books and comics. So I'm quite well versed in the books and comics of the Star Wars world.
You read all the books?
Yes.
That's got to be like people who moderate internet forums where they're just shell-shocked by the horrible things they see that they have to deal with.
Oh, God.
Get started early, Rhett.
Yeah, exactly. Rhett, good grief. Laying in early.
Yeah. I even read the adorable children's books, like C-3PO does not like sand.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I would think
R2-D2
that,
is lost.
yeah. Those sound good.
Yeah.
It's got to be better than anything Wendig writes.
Oh, man.
What? Aftermath is incredible.
Yeah, I like the Star Wars books he did. I like that.
Oh my goodness.
He's a horrible person.
I'm not big on some of the stuff the other stuff outside of Star Wars, but I liked his Star Wars stuff. So, see, I can disassociate.
No, I have to disassociate to enjoy life at all.
This is not your therapy session, Rhett.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, what is it? This is about cannons, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about
cannons.
Rhett is disassociated. Time for retcon. I like that, Steve.
Yeah.
Retcon.
He wishes he could retcon all of Star Wars.
I could. I may get my wish.
Oh my goodness.
So, Marie, why don't you kick us off with some of the canon stuff that you want to talk about?
Okay, so I've broken things down just like last year. I broke everything down by generally by movie where the books and comics fit in. So the first one is in a very similar vein to the last season, the last arc of the Clone Wars, how it coincided with Revenge of the Sith. Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston coincides with the Phantom Menace. And
I love that book.
It is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. That book is so good.
Is that the one that made Michael cry?
No, that's Queen's Shadow. Queen's Shadow. The prologue made me cry.
Yeah.
No, the epilogue.
Yeah, the epilogue. My bad. The epilogue. Yeah.
The epilogue of Queen's Shadow was, that was a tearjerker.
It was amazing.
But Queen's Peril, the first half of the book is before Phantom Menace, and you get to see how the whole Trade Federation takeover happens, and then it goes right into the Phantom Menace and shows it mostly from the point of view of Sasha and Yane.
Yeah.
Two of her handmaidens on Naboo. So that book is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I love the way that they do that. I mean, because we get to see what was going on Naboo during all the madness of, you know, the end of episode 1. I mean, I really loved that, just the internment camp stuff and all of that. I mean, it was great. It was really good stuff.
Yeah. And I thought one of the things that was interesting when C.O. Bibble says, I forget what the exact word was, but our people are dying.
Yeah.
And where a code word was actually used in what he said to signal to Padme that everything was okay. So that was interesting, little tidbits like that it pulled out of Phantom Menace and made them make more, deepened them.
Yeah.
Communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion.
Invasion. That's right.
A little C.O. Bibble for you. Only one thing that could mean.
The internet's down? No, invasion.
Invasion, exactly.
Bad signal? Cloudy? What? No.
IT department sucks? No.
Situation? No.
It can only mean that one
thing.
So then we move on to the Clone Wars, and we get the comic series tie-in to the Jedi Fallen Order video game, Jedi Fallen Order Dark Temple. And it was a short-run comic series that was done so well. I was going into it, I was a little skeptical just because I'd come off of Vader Dark Visions. Is that what that one was called?
I think Dark Visions, yeah.
That series was
all over the place.
Yeah.
It had a good moment, then it'd have and then it was, yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, well, we'll see. This is about characters that I don't know. This is brand new. And I fell in love with the main characters and thought it was done super well.
Was Cal Kestis in this comic run or not?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. So explain to those of us that haven't read that comic run what happened in that.
So there was a present timeline with the Inquisitor that's in the video game. And there was a past timeline with a Jedi and his Padawan. And the Padawan is in the video game. So it was basically they're on this planet and there's sort of a war going on between these two different groups of people. And it's all about trying to figure out who's in the right and what is the morally correct thing to do in this situation, where there's this group of people trying to protect their land, but then there's this other group of people that are wealthier and they want to come in and get into the ancient temple that is being guarded by the other people. So it's a really well done storyline, and there are lots of twists and turns. That's the past storyline, which is the main thrust of the comic. So
does that past storyline take place during Clone Wars era then?
Yes.
Okay.
It's all about the Republic and the Separatists and who they're going to align with.
And in this particular Jedi that's in that, it's obviously one we haven't seen in the films. Is it just one of those that maybe we saw in Attack of the Clones in the battle sequence? All those just brown robes, as I like to call them.
It's possible. It's definitely possible. But the Padawan, and it was so funny. I was playing Jedi Fallen Order, the video game, and I was like, why is this name of this character? And I hate this. I don't have it written down in front of me right now. But the name of this character and the way she looked, I was like, I know her from somewhere. And I finally Wikipedia'd it, and I was like, oh my gosh, she was the main character in the comic series.
Okay.
So that was pretty awesome. And in Jedi Fallen Order, she has this like secret past that she wants to sort of keep a little bit hidden from Cal Kestis. And I haven't gotten very far in the video game, honestly. But
right. Well, it's
Just-
interesting. I mean, with Fallen Order, it's interesting because we're almost at a point now where they're introducing quite a few Jedi that survived Order 66. So the clone troopers really did not do a good job of getting rid of Jedi. I mean,
Well, we
there's
saw. I mean, it was in the height of the Clone Wars, right? So you
Right.
had all these Jedi out,
Right.
leading troops, so they were
Mhm.
kind of easy picking. So I assume that there are different ranks of Jedi, right? They're not
Mhm.
all out leading troops, presumably. Maybe there are some
They're
on
not all generals.
vacation.
Yeah.
Right.
some are on vacation.
Comes back from vacation. He's like, "What the hell has happened?" And
Totally.
he's murdered by people. So you could, I never felt like every Last Jedi was killed at the end
Well,
of Revenge of the Sith. right?
Obi-Wan and Yoda went to all that trouble to change the signal code in the
Oh,
Jedi
yeah.
Temple because
To get the word out. They
knew
knew there were
had to
survivors
do it.
out there
Yeah.
who needed to
Mhm.
needed to run. And then so I don't know if is the Purge canon anymore. I know back in the Legends days there was kind of that period where Vader was kind of going around cleaning up Jedi.
Right, so that's the whole
Yeah.
purpose of the Inquisitors. So
Right.
Okay.
Vader has all
All right,
these
got it.
Inquisitors that are, and these Inquisitors, it's kind of like gray what their past is. I mean, some were former, at least the Grand Inquisitor, wasn't he a former Jedi Temple
Jedi.
guard?
Yeah. Most of the Inquisitors, if not all, are former Jedi.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
As a
they're
matter
all,
of fact,
yeah.
there's a comic story where the way one of the surviving Jedis gets out of it is to command Order 66 to the
Mhm.
clone troopers,
Mhm.
and the clone troopers turn on two of the Inquisitors. So, yeah.
Mm.
That, oh my gosh, that
That was
issue
clever. Yeah.
was, that issue blew my mind.
That was
That was crazy.
that was really good. Let me ask you this, Marie. The Star Wars canon is going beyond just novels, video games, and the movies and such now, because like Vi Marathi
Yes.
from Galaxy's Edge, how much of that do you cover? Because you've got Vi Marathi running around every day in Galaxy's Edge,
Mhm.
along with Rey and Chewbacca on occasion, from the First Order and such. I mean, how much of that do you incorporate into canon?
It's all canon.
Yeah, I mean, it is. We know she's there. She's the one
Yeah.
that found the temple that the Rise of the
Right.
Resistance takes place in.
Yeah.
In what it was Black Spire. The book's name was it
Yeah,
Galaxy's
Black
Edge or Black
Spire.
Spire? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I mean, they go to elaborate lengths, and I really did enjoy that book. I mean, I thought
loved
they did not
it.
pull any punches with it.
Yeah, it's a good
Of
Of
book.
course,
yeah.
Cardinal's one of my absolute favorite characters, so I was so happy to see him again.
Yeah. I very much. Spoiler alert. I hate that we don't have that possibility. Yeah, in the future, unless it's flashbacks, they could always go back to him dealing with Phasma or
Now,
something
Stan,
before
no,
Weimar.
no one's ever really gone.
Really gone. I know.
Come on.
I'm with you there.
Oh my goodness.
I'm fairly certain he is, though.
Yeah, he was run through pretty good. He was run through pretty good.
He had 2 books and a cameo, and now he's gone.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, he was a great character. He really was. I would have liked to have seen more of his stuff incorporated into the background.
Mhm.
Since he had such an influence on training the stormtroopers and all.
So
Right.
we are still pretending that Galaxy's Edge is canon.
Galaxy's Edge is more than
That
canon.
vacant
It
vacant
is.
lot.
Oh my gosh.
It vacant lot nothing. I mean, oh dear God, the wait times, the way they have to do Rise of the Resistance. Oh Lord, even when the park's capacity is running low due to coronavirus right now, you still have to go through a special process where when you walk in, you've got certain times that you try on your cell phone to get a reservation for Galaxy's Edge.
Is
for
all the
Rise of Resistance?
is all the sold out merchandise canon?
All of the sold out merchandise is canon, yes. The Coke bottles,
That
everything.
incorporated into the story somehow, that they can't keep anything in there?
Actually, they use a lot of
Y'all
that in
keep
the
it.
Galaxy's Edge comic books and the novelization.
Hey, the Coke droid's getting his own figure too.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Is it canon that you can't take those on an airplane?
Oh my gosh.
I'll mail them to you.
So speaking of Galaxy's Edge, there's actually been some really, besides the Black Spire novel with Vi Marati and Cardinal, which are both from the Phasma adult novel. So there's even a,
Right.
further back connection.
Yeah.
Then there's also Crash of Fate, which was a young adult novel, which was actually really good. I did enjoy it a lot, and it very much so fleshed out Galaxy's Edge, because I don't think I'm going there anytime soon, but reading Crash of Fate, I felt like I was there.
Yeah, I mean, and that was a good novel because it was a genre that really they had not explored yet, because it was almost like a romance novel in a way. I mean,
Yeah.
And so it was interesting to have that particular type of genre in the Star Wars universe.
I mean, there is Lost Stars.
Yeah, Lost Stars, and of course, Courtship of Princess Leia, but that's not canon anymore.
Thank God.
One of the better Star Wars.
Don't you want them to do something more with Lost Stars, Marie?
Oh, yes.
I mean, not necessarily revisit, but I mean, take the story as it stands. That in and of itself would be a hell of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
they already made it into 3 manga volumes.
Yeah, and they've done a really good job with that. I like those more than I thought I would.
Yeah. So that's
how are you
really
liking
cool.
the current comic books? I mean, we haven't got standard Star Wars in a while, or Darth Vader due to COVID. But how are you liking the storylines beforehand?
Let me throw out one more thing first, and then I'll get to that. So, and this actually speaks to comics, but there were comics that came out a little while back, but the Galaxy's Edge comic series was also super good. Loved that, because they looked at Afra, Han and Chewie, Hondo, took all these characters from all these different places and put them in the story within a story in the Galaxy's Edge comic series. So I thought that was really amazing. But yes, the current comic series that are going on, so taking place after Empire Strikes Back, you've got the new Star Wars ongoing series, the new Darth Vader ongoing series, the Bounty Hunter ongoing series, and the new Dr. Afra ongoing series. So 4 comic series all taking place at the same time, which is a lot of content to keep up with. Of course, with COVID, things have been going really, really slowly, but
do any of those cross over? Did they cross over among themselves?
Yes. Yeah. Afra crosses over with a lot, but not.
Yeah.
It's more like background material. This is going on in the background. This is in the foreground, and her and Vader have crossed paths a few times on it. Let me ask you this: it's spoilers. Look, there's going to be spoilers.
Yeah. This is spoilers. Right? It's fine.
Oh, okay. All right. In the Star Wars comic, the mysterious entity contacting Luke, that's Ahsoka, isn't it? We don't know it for a fact, but don't you think that's Ahsoka that's leading Luke to her?
I had heard about this. I don't know, Stan, on that. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, Luke is a bit of a Mary Sue and all that, but it would better fit the format if Ahsoka aided him and trained him.
Luke is not a Mary Sue.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lukey Sue.
He failed repeatedly. He is not a Mary Sue.
Are you speaking about the hooded figure?
Yeah.
See, I thought that was just a vision he had, just like a force vision.
But it seemed to be, oh dear Lord, the last comic we got was what, March?
It's been a while.
Star Wars Canon. Yeah. So it's been a little bit. I've been a little bit, but I swear I thought that they were somehow this hooded individual was leading him somewhere, bringing him to an end, because they go out of their way to show him get the Red 5 back from Cloud City, which I always kind of just assumed he got another X-Wing and called it Red 5. But they went way out of their way to show him get the actual Red 5 away from Cloud City. And he keeps having the visions of the individual. I really do think it's Ahsoka. I mean,
Picked
who
up his
else?
lightsaber while he was there.
I don't think
That's
they're going
but that's
there.
a story
Lorson
for another
Tekka?
time.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think they're going there. I don't think that, not in a comic. I don't think they're going there. The Luke
I mean,
and Ahsoka connection.
That would be really interesting, but because he doesn't end up finding his lightsaber in that
No.
giant trash room, so I don't know where. I don't know that I hadn't thought about that.
Well, how would that strike you? Would you be put off by it? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't at all. I think that, I mean, you know me and connections, so I think that would be incredible. But
Albert doesn't like the idea, but
I mean, I don't know that they're going to go there with those two characters. I think that they're going to keep those characters separate. I don't think that they're ever going to have any interaction in any format.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I just have that feeling that they're not going to go there with that, because there's too many ramifications if those two characters have come in contact at some point. And so I don't know that they're going to go there.
Give me a couple.
Well, I mean, timing is everything, obviously, with that. I mean, if you've got, depending, and I don't read the comics, so I don't know when the time period is specifically that you're talking about.
Immediately after Empire, within a month.
The first issue, it shows parts of Empire Strikes Back happening.
Yeah. I don't know. Wasn't Ahsoka on that farm planet at that time?
Not necessarily at that time. That was a little bit.
That was long before,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a ways. That Luke was still on Tatooine at that point.
Well, okay. Then if we're talking about the Empire, I'm wondering if at that time she's off in wild space looking for Ezra. Then.
No, that's not till after Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I mean, Ahsoka survives Return of the Jedi. So does Syndulla and Sabine.
I mean,
Sabine?
because
Sabine, thank you. I've got her figure. She's sitting over there, and I'm looking at her like, your name?
right.
You said Saban. I thought maybe Nick Saban was canon.
No.
Right. Yeah. Tommy's right. She was looking for somebody better than Ezra.
Hey, I have a question. And if this is in the wrong spot for it, let me know and I'll put it off. But first of all, I was always a purist. All right, I did not care for the extended.
What does that even
universe. Mean? I didn't care for the extended universe, as opposed to being a completist. I was very specifically Star Wars movies, and all of this Jaster Mariel nonsense is garbage, right? So I have kind of taken that philosophy into the new Disney canon, where it's still the movies. And I think maybe it was on the last panel we did about Mandalorian, where somebody said anything that doesn't it's only canon if it doesn't contradict the movies, right? So anything that is written in a book can be contradicted on screen, and it is no longer canon. That is
true.
Right? Yeah, in regards.
So if we take that approach, then I mean it's not even. There's no point.
No, wait a minute.
Okay?
That
hang on.
question was
let me
asked
finish
by me.
Let me finish the thought.
Yeah.
So are there elements from the modern canon, from this new canon, that we expect to see carried into a live action? A live action format, either series. Are there things that are worth bringing over? Things that we want to see?
I think Afra.
There's scuttlebutt about that coming over. That's what I would like to see, because for me, as someone who does not consume all of that media, print is dead. All apologies to everyone here associated with print media.
You mean the library?
The library.
Yeah, the people hosting the event, Brett.
Yeah. But so I can't consume all of that. But if it comes to live action, then for me it would legitimize it much more specifically. And are there things that we can expect to see, things that we want to see, things that would be worthy of the big screen treatment?
You're going to get Afra. Afra's coming.
I think Afra is the most likely.
But I don't.
Why is that? Just a generally good response to her?
I think a good response to the character in general, and I think it's a character that you can do a lot of different things with. I mean, she's an archaeologist type, and so it's easy to translate that to screen. Adventure of the week type thing. I mean,
Indiana Jones style.
Indiana Jones style. I mean, and then there's the connection she had with Vader, and so I just think that character is easy to translate to screen.
Okay.
Yeah, and
All right.
Vimerati's already
Sure.
showing up in things. It's just a matter of time before Vimerati, anything you get in the time period of the Resistance, she's going to show up in stuff. They've got too much invested in her.
And that's your made up Galaxy's Edge character, right?
That's the in canon.
I'm being facetious, but
Galaxy's
that's
Edge
that.
character. But what the question that was asked was, I was asking in relation to the novelization of the films. For instance, in the original Star Wars New Hope, Star Wars novelization, is it Empire or is it Star Wars? One of the two. Obi-Wan says that Lars is his brother.
Yeah.
And that's not no. And Luke flew Blue 5. Well, no, Luke flew, that's what I meant in contradiction to that. Disney's been very careful, and Marie, correct me if I'm wrong. Disney's been very careful in not contradicting themselves in these.
Well, they kind of did a little bit with season 7 of the Clone Wars, with some of the Ahsoka stuff and the Ahsoka book.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And it wasn't like major, but there was certainly a bit of an uproar on the message boards, if those are still a thing.
But couldn't you still attribute that to a certain point of view?
You can, but that's lazy.
That's a cop out.
Yeah.
That's crappy writing, coming back in later and saying, no. This is what it really meant. Ugh.
Right. I mean, they basically attribute it to the fact that anything that is on screen is going to be able to contradict anything in a book or a comic. I mean, that's kind of always been the Star Wars way, even when there wasn't a canon in the novelizations. I mean, I think that's a tough thing to do in general.
Yeah.
When they established that anything Disney era forward, any of those novels, I think starting with, what was it, Fate of the Jedi or something like that? I can't remember the very first one.
It was Tarkin.
It was Tarkin, right?
Yeah, it was Tarkin. But Tarkin forward being canon is difficult because it just makes you have to work that much harder not to contradict yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think, from a general movie-going audience, they know the movies. And they do not consume anywhere approaching 100% of the other media.
No.
So when you build, and I don't think they've done very much of this, they've been careful not to, and hopefully they never do. But when you can't create your stories in those other media and then dump them into live action and expect everybody to be up to speed on it, because those are not consumed at the same rate. It's a big ask for them to create all this content and declare it canon, in support of the live action, the things that most people are going to see. So that's always and that's why I dismiss it. Not that there isn't good content out there, but in the grand scheme, it's really, when you're having a conversation with somebody out on the street, they only know what's in the movies anyway.
Really, how many people do you approach on the street and start talking about Star Wars?
Anyone? No, it's like evangelism. You knock on doors and be like, "Do you know Star Wars as your Lord and Savior?"
Have you a few minutes to talk about my Lord and Savior?
If you died tonight, will you have seen Star Wars?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say this, but Rhett makes a good point, because there were certainly a lot of people that were taken aback when they saw Darth Maul in Solo.
That's true. That's what I was thinking.
Well, yeah, but the stuff like, the novels like Marie, Michael, and I, and the comic books and all this makes for a fuller universe. And the little thing in Ahsoka, I slipped up on. I forgot that they did kind of play around.
But that's really the only thing so far.
Yeah, it is.
That's it, because you do have people overseeing this. Here's another thing. There's a character that's already from the novels that's already in canon, hardcore, and that's Snap Wexley.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, he was prominent in the sequels, and
2/3 of them.
His relationship with Wedge.
He was totally forgotten by Rian Johnson.
He was left out by Rian Johnson. But
all
so
that happened in like 2 days.
Look, I was watching. I don't know why, but I was watching the last Harry Potter movie last night. And I kept thinking as I was watching it, when did they cut out all these scenes? They didn't cut out all these scenes. They're not filming the book.
Right.
There was so much left out from the movie version that was in the novelization. The thing I like about the Star Wars novels and the comics and the extended universe in the video games is that they fill out, and it's not that the general public has to be on it. It's there if the general public wants to know it, because any of us will be happy to talk to them about it. And Marie has written a book about it that connects everything.
But Stan, philosophically, you put the cart before the horse a little bit there. Take the Snap Wexley example. He's in Force Awakens. He's in Rise of Skywalker. There's a gap for Last Jedi.
But there's not.
But there is. But
there's not a gap.
Listen, wait. There is a gap. There's a gap because Rian Johnson didn't put him in. So then, after the fact, writers come in and say, we got to explain this gap. Okay, so much of what I see is become Star Wars canon in these novelizations and comics are filling in, are justifying things from the movies.
I don't even think it was after the fact. I think that when Rian Johnson said, if Snap Wexley was even brought up to him, he said, I just don't have a place for him or something, then somebody right there and right then could have said, it's okay. He's gone out to try to recruit people.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
gracious.
just that quick. But yeah, we know
that happened after the fact. That's not a
we
story
read the
element.
novels.
But it resulted in a wonderful comic series.
Yes,
well, but that's by accident. I mean, if you go back to the whole parsec business, 14, 12, how many was it? I don't even remember anymore. That Han Solo did the Kessel run in. That was 12. A mistake. Yeah, it was 12.
That's
I
not.
know it was 12. But
That's
that
not
was
accident.
a mistake. It
That's
was a mistake. It was just a word
synergy.
that they used incorrectly. It's not a big deal, but everybody saw fit to now build this massive backstory to explain a mistake.
Wait,
and
right
that's
there.
what I don't like about a lot of canon is it's just there to explain mistakes. Let me throw this canon bit out.
Wait.
No. I don't want you to talk. I want to. Let me throw this canon bit out here.
Throw it.
One of these goofy visual guides. There is talk about Starkiller Base, and there's a little blurb in there about how the First Order played with space-time to make it possible for everyone in the galaxy to see the blast travel through space, so you could see it in real time from other planets. Okay, that is nonsense garbage talk. J.J. Abrams did not conceive of anything like that. He just doesn't know how space works and put everything where you can see it in real time when it was 1,000 years away visually, right?
Now you're complaining about one of your pet peeves.
So much of this ancillary work is done to fix garbage.
If you were familiar with basic Star Wars physics, I'd take you seriously.
Oh, no. In your world, you can have certain things that you accept.
Let me also clarify.
We accept sound in space, but we do also have to accept that there is distance to travel. They have hyperspace, which means light speed is a limit that they're familiar with. So you cannot look up from a planet and see another planet in systems.
How is it you're on the library Star Wars panel and not at NASA at this moment, Rhett? Let me clarify something. The parsec.
Because he's a failure. Because Rhett's a failure. That's why.
Alan Dean Foster actually said in an interview that when he was reading the script for the novelization, he caught the parsec situation during the filming. He approached Lucas with it, and he said, a parsec, you're using parsec wrong. And Lucas said, no, I know the definition. Now, he said that. Alan Dean Foster has cleared up that Lucas knew at the time what he was saying with parsec. He did intend that. So that's just something fans
it's
like
a fictional universe that does not have to adhere to the actual science of things.
No, but your world needs to make sense within its own world.
And
if you can witness events happening across the galaxy with your naked eye, then that is a very tiny, small galaxy. That is
the location of Takodana happened to be.
That's the antithesis of decent world building.
The location of Takodana happened to be privy to that. Tatooine was not privy to that.
I'm telling you,
Coruscant was not privy
you don't know
to that.
That's not what the canon garbage visual dictionary says. It says everybody saw it.
Do you not have an imagination? Can you not just kind of?
And it's a plot point. It's a major plot point. It gives information to our characters, to Finn and Han, because they look up and see it. So
This wasn't a problem with you before you realized that Rey wasn't a guy.
Wait, what?
This wasn't a problem with you before you realized that Rey wasn't a man.
What are you talking about?
Your whole
I don't understand
problem with
contextually what
sequels.
you just said there, because this is chronologically.
Okay,
we know who Rey
wait,
is.
wait. Marie, let's go back to canon. We'll save the rest
This
of this
is
for
canon.
episode 9.
This is canon. We're talking about episode 7.
You're not making any connections. You're just ranting about something that
It is a connection. It is a
explained
connection.
Short
I'm telling
of
you, the
breaking
visual
out-
guide has to come in and fix that crap.
I don't know
That's a
why I'd
connection.
have to break out charts and graphs to explain to you how Starkiller Base works.
Oh, because they tried that too, but it doesn't work.
Okay,
It
but
doesn't
you
even work in the
completely-
world.
You have no problem with the functionality of the Death Star.
What does that contextually have to do with Starkiller Base?
I don't know. Add 4 plasma coils at each other and see if they form one giant beam. I
What are you
mean,
talking
come on,
about?
you can pick anything apart, but right now we're talking about canon connections.
And
I
that's what I
apologize,
just.
Marie.
Was that not a canon connection? Stan?
Not at all.
That's
No,
one
that was
you
a
don't want to
rant.
talk about because you know it's a garbage. It's
was
a garbage
all-
discussion.
That's all
This
it
is
was.
not
Was a
talk
rant.
radio, Rhett.
It's not a
that's-
rant.
Well, I do want to point out one novel in particular that wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but ended up being exactly what I needed. Resistance Reborn.
Mm-hmm.
So that novel came out before Rise of Skywalker to show some of what was going on in the year between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. And if you are a canon junkie, if you do read everything, then Resistance Reborn rewards you tenfold because it connects to the Bloodline adult novel, the Battlefront 2 video game, the Poe Dameron long run comic series, the Aftermath trilogy, Clone Wars, Rebels, the Resistance animated show. It connects all of it. And even the Poe Dameron comic series, the way that it ends, seamlessly goes into the way that the Resistance Reborn novel begins. So if you keep up with all of those things, then that book is such a fantastic reward.
And it's a good story on top of all that. I mean, it really
Yeah.
does that too, but you do care about the characters. And it goes back. It also, we mentioned Snap Wexley earlier, and where was it? Yeah, this goes toward that as well. But yeah, that
Right.
was, I was not expecting a lot of that, but it gave a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was neat how it had multiple different storylines happening at the same time, but they were all really interesting storylines.
Stan,
The only thing
Stan, you just proved my point. You mentioned Snap Wexley because they had to find him something to do to justify his absence from a movie.
Snap Wexley has plenty to do, all of his own accord, without anybody helping him. Thank you, Red.
Lord.
I mean, look,
my
you
editor.
don't. I'm going to tell you this. If we went through your life and took certain highlights of it and put it together for a novelization,
There's not
there's
many
going to be
highlights.
No,
continuity
this is it. This
problems.
is all you got. This is peak Rhett.
Well, that was sad. Next.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and so I know Rhett made the comment in the Mandalorian panel about the
Don't
Disney.
bring him into this.
Well, it's I know. The how Disney era doesn't always, and I already mentioned Queen's Peril, which definitely is connected with the prequels, but even Force Collector, which was a novel in the Journey to Rise of Skywalker publishing campaign. It deeply connected with the prequels because the main character, every time he touched an object, he would have visions of what that object experienced. Mm-hmm. And it was super cool because he would see visions of Anakin Skywalker, and he would see visions of Luke Skywalker, but all he heard was the name Skywalker. And he convoluted the two into one person and was super confused as he was having all these visions. And eventually he was able to parse out that there were two different people. Mm-hmm. And it was like this super cool mystery kind of adventure where he was discovering the history of the Skywalkers. And it deeply looked into the prequels and that book was really good.
He's probably super confused by Rey Skywalker.
No, that's very straightforward and understandable. Marie, what was that? Was that a young adult novel?
Young adult novel.
Yeah.
And it was, and give me the name again, because I missed that one completely.
Force Collector.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It was such a good book. And when he had those various visions, like it would take scenes that we know of from the prequel trilogy, and it would show them from sort of a vaguer point of view, a little bit of a different point of view. And so what the main character's name was, where did it go?
Main character's name was
no, Karnuk Sin.
Well, I was better.
He would get sort of but we would see Obi-Wan and we would see like Grievous and all these prequel characters doing things, and it was really good.
I definitely want to check that out. I would like to see a combined Luke and Anakin situation going on.
It was really funny because the reader knows. It's like, no, That's not Luke, that's Anakin, but he was so clueless.
Wait a minute, did this guy just save himself from himself?
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. And speaking about novelizations, so I'm going to throw a wrench in the works because I think the novelization and withhold judgment on the movie itself, I'm just talking about the novelizations, the Rise of Skywalker Junior novelization is a heart-wrenching, oh my gosh. Like, I cried so hard reading that book. The way it does these amazing things with C-3PO and R2-D2, and the prologue and the epilogue go back to the very beginning of the Skywalker saga and take you through to the end. And it compares and contrasts the different characters, and it was so good.
Well, we have a connection there because I actually cried all throughout the Rise of Skywalker.
Emotionally touched.
No, that was not why. No.
Yeah. We've got a whole panel on that.
I know.
Just sit still.
Can't wait. I'm going to go. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to watch it again between now and then.
I agree, Steve. Rhett is touched.
Oh my goodness.
But again,
go ahead.
You feel though that it's all still very accessible. It's just what level of a fan you want to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the same thing with Lord of the Rings. There are thousands of fans that consider themselves diehard Lord of the Rings fans that have done nothing but sing the movies, haven't even read the books. Mm-hmm. And, that's the source material. But it's same thing with Star Wars. You can enjoy the Mandalorian, the movies, and the videos that are out about Star Wars that are in canon without having to read the novelization. When Afra shows up inside of a Disney Plus series or a movie or something, they're going to explain to the general public in 3 or 4 lines or more, and through whoever is portraying her, the acting, who this character is. They're not going to leave people out in the cold. So there's different levels to it. It's how you want to approach it, and it's what you're comfortable with. I completely understand Rhett, God help me, because when I was a kid, I was a huge Star Wars fan and wanted more of it. And beyond the Han Solo trilogy novels and Splinter in the Mind's Eye, well, even Splinter in the Mind's Eye, it just didn't fit. It didn't feel like Star Wars, the books they were coming out with, all the way into adulthood, what's now considered legends. The comic books felt off. The Dark Horse comics to me felt off, except for Star Wars Tales. I love that. But and so I just disregarded anything that wasn't the movies. Anything that wasn't, that I didn't enjoy. When Disney said, okay, now we're going to do something, we're going to go forth, novels, everything's going to be canon, we're going to keep it in as much of a line as possible and go forward from here, I was on board with that and still am. They've done nothing to shake me. And I could be sure, I could change my mind. They could hit a series of books or situations where I fall off of it, but it's what level you want to enjoy it at. I feel you get more from it by reading the novels.
Well,
and the comics.
I may go the opposite direction as you. Really, I may disavow the movies and just start reading nothing but the books.
I wish you would. I'd be better with you like that.
Oh man.
So are there any other?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw out also the Age of maxi series. The comics. So you have Age of Republic, Age of Rebellion, and Age of Resistance. Each one has 4 heroes and 4 villains, and it has 4 hero issues and 4 villain issues. And so with Age of Republic, you get Anakin, Padme, Qui-Gon, Maul, Obi-Wan, Jango. The Jango one is adorable. Dooku and Grievous. And then with Age of Rebellion, you get Boba Fett, Tarkin, Leia, Han, Lando, Jabba, Luke, and Vader. And then with Age of Resistance, you get Hux, which is another incredible issue. And Phasma, Kylo Ren, Snoke, Finn, Poe, Rey, and Rose. So if there's a character that you want to know more about or are interested in, you can definitely go to those Age of issues and check out a little bit more about them. And I have reviews of all of them on my blog.
Give out your blog, right? So
the Star Wars Review.blogspot.com.
Awesome. We're coming into the last 10 minutes here. We started at 11:30. Okay. Yeah. Kristen gets mad if we go over time. So yeah, Marie, tell us everything. Tell us where we can find you, because look, those of you watching this panel that have not met Marie before, she is a walking archive of Star Wars.
It is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, she's beyond impressive. She can, I get mixed up on which cantina we're in, but she can tell you, the footprint of this droid as compared to that droid. So tell them where to find you.
Okay, so again, the Star Wars Review.blogspot.com is my review blog where I review. I've started reviewing TV shows too, so it's not just print media; it's also all the TV shows. And I don't do movies though. I don't do that, but I can be found on Twitter at Alia Morgaine, ALIAMORGAINE. And if you have a question or anything, hit me up there, or you can always email me at melizabethwilson@gmail.com. So with an S, Elizabeth with an S.
All right, cool beans.
So
Michael?
did you review Resistance when it was out?
Yes, I have reviews of every single episode of Star Wars Resistance.
What did you think of that series overall?
I love Niku. I think Niku is one of the most amazing characters ever. But and one thing, a good canon connection is that the Starkiller base destruction of Hosnian Prime in Resistance made me bawl like a little baby.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I saw it happen in Force Awakens, I was like,
yeah, I mean, and that's
really
never seen those folks before, so
yeah,
no emotional connection to them.
And that's what was good about Resistance in that aspect. With we got to know Kaz so well that when when he thought his parents had died because of the destruction of Hosnian Prime. I mean, you're right. That was pretty devastating. I think that was like the end of the first season, if I'm not mistaken. That was a really good episode. I mean, that series overall wasn't necessarily for me. It was, skewed a little bit younger, I think, but there were some good episodes every once in a while. One episode that I was frustrated that they didn't explore more was when they found that Sith artifact, and that was it. I mean, it was like, we find this Sith artifact and nothing more happens from that. I think that they had much more planned for that series before it got abruptly canceled. I think there was some more seasons. In fact, I know there were some more seasons that they had planned for that. But you can find my podcast at thedeucecast.com on Twitter. I'm at the Michael Nip at Twitter. And then we, like I said earlier, Rhett and I occasionally have a sort of Star Wars centric podcast. So if you enjoyed Rhett's rant earlier, that took a good 15 minutes of this.
No 15 minutes.
It felt like 15 minutes.
Oh, it felt longer than that.
If you enjoyed that, then you can go back into the archive, look up Card Trader Illuminati on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, and you can listen to Rhett rant about Star Wars quite often.
I have no strong feelings on Resistance. I enjoyed it for the most part, but it was kind of, it definitely was not the strongest entry in any of it, but it didn't hurt anything.
Right.
And
right.
I think we can all easily agree it was far better than Picard. So
wow. You're just not a Picard fan, are you?
I'm just not letting that go. I'm standing.
Yeah. That makes sense. Now we're on the same page.
Yeah. I'm Stan Daniel. Kingdom Casts podcast. Me and Albert Marsh put one out. We try to put one out every week to 10 days. Follow us on Facebook, Kingdom Comics or Kingdom Casts, or follow us on both Facebook, Twitter, what have you. And Rhett, please tell us about yourself.
Well, look, I don't have a whole lot going on right now. One thing I've been banding about in my head though is this concept of it's kind of in competition with like bookstores. It's a place where you can go and like get books, except it's free, and you take them for some period of time, but then bring them back later.
Interesting.
Kind of like a check them out type situation.
Did you not earlier say that print was dead, Rhett?
Well, I know you guys keep
He's
talking
trying
about
to
it.
redeem himself.
No, I mean you guys keep talking about it. I feel like there's a vacuum there, and nature abhors a vacuum.
Nature does what to a vacuum? Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Hoover Library and Sci-Fi Fest. And we'll be back in a few hours for episode 9.
Oh, God help us.
Woo.
No, God help Rhett.
You guys better be ready.
You see this, Craig? Michael, is there anything you'd like my wife to do in the hour or so before
I mean, if you could maybe get some more episode 9 centric stuff behind you.
Oh, there's none of that. They didn't make any.
Oh no, I've got it all set. What you can't see is the bookshelf, the Star Wars section and all that. But I've got Mickey Mouse in an X-wing costume, Minnie Mouse as Princess Leia upstairs.
We don't need any of that.
What would y'all like?
None of that. None of that. You're fine with what you've got there.
Thank you.
R2-D2, the most important character in Star Wars.
I appreciate it. My dog hates you.
All right, let's end this abomination early.
Please. Thank you, Marie. That was great.
That's all.
Thanks, Marie.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.